Hi everyone, in this lecture we are going to style the features section. So this is where we left it off in our previous lecture. Let's just immediately dive into CSS and let's style our section. So I'm going to go to the features section. I'm going to delete the height. The color is going to be quinary, and it's going to be in the same place as it is. Let's provide it with a padding. The padding is going to be var, it is going to be XLV as well for the top and bottom, and for the left and right it's going to be LH. So it's horizontal LH. Now since we have two items or two children within this container, we are going to use display flags. And now they're side by side. We are going to say align items, center. So we want to center them vertically in this case. And the gap is going to be 10 rem. Now this one, this features section is going to have that border radius as well, that curve. So the curve is going to happen at the top left corner and top right corner. So I'm going to say border radius, border top dash left radius, and it is going to be 50% and 50%. Now when both values are the same, you can just provide only one value, and that is going to be accounted for the top left corner, which is the top for the top border, and for the vertical one. We have talked extensively about that in our hero section, how there are two lines forming that, converging and forming that corner. One is going to be horizontal, always one is going to be vertical. The order of values is going to be the way that they're written. So the first value that you provide here is going to be for that horizontal line converging towards the left of the screen. And the second one is going to be that vertical line going from the coming towards the right of the screen. So then both of them meet. So it's going to be 50%, and this is going to be a right radius. Let's save that, and let's also go ahead and take a look at that. So this is what we have ended up with. This is exactly 50%. Let's continue with styling. First off, we are going to grab the features image. So we have features underscore img. The width is going to be 50% of its container. So it just grabs 50%. And then we are going to apply animation. So the animation name is going to be, or identifier is going to be feature image. 4 seconds. The timing function is going to be ease and out. And the iteration count is going to be infinite. Let's use our keyframes. So this time, let me provide the feature dash img as well. So this time what we want to do is we wanted to enlarge it and increase it in dimensions and decrease it in dimensions. So we are going to use the scale property, the scale function for transform, for the transform property. So at 0%, we have talked about scale. Scale is the size, like you're pulling vertically and horizontally on that image, you're making it look bigger. So scale, by default, at the scale of all HTML elements or CSS boxes, it's 1. So if you provided 1, nothing is going to happen. If you provided less than 1, they're going to get smaller. If you provided more than that, they're going to get enlarged. So transform scale 1. Scale is shorthand for X and Y. So you can have scale X, you can have scale Y. That is going to enlarge it along the x-axis and along the y-axis, that sort of thing. But we just need it as the x and y, the same values. So transform scale, not scale x, not y, scale itself. So I'm going to enlarge it by 0.5. That is going to be how much I'm going to enlarge it. So that's going to be a lot when we get to that. So at 100%, I want the scale to go back to scale of 1, which is the default. Scale of 1. Let's save that. Let's take a look at it. So this is how it is getting bigger and smaller, bigger and smaller. Let's move on to the rest of the styling. I'm going to grab the feature image. It's not selecting the dimensions of its parent, so we need to forcefully apply that. So it's width 100%. Let's come down. Now we are talking about the features content. So features __ content. The flex basis for this one is going to be 50% as well. So the space is divided between these two elements, flex items, the image and the content. The content is going to have a display of flex. The flex direction is column, and the gap is going to be, so the gap is going to be 2 rem as well. So this features content. It contains 2 elements. One is going to be this key points. The other one is this mini title. So it basically aligns those, but we need to go ahead and we need to grab all the elements within these key points and align them as well. So I'm going to select that again, and I'm going to say display flex, flex direction column, and gap is going to be 4 rem. Now before moving forward, let's grab that mini title and let's style it so we can see it better. So it is features content -- mini -- title. So here is that. So first let's grab the font size. Let's increase it. Now I'm going to do something cool here, and that is when I say font size var st-xs, that is the extra small value for the static size of the font, for the static size of the font. Now this is really small, so I don't want it to look this small. If I save this and if I show it to you, it's still really small. It is barely visible, barely readable, but in here you can see that it is very much readable. So what I'm going to do is, because the end result of this var, it's going to be unit, I'm going to cut that, and we can use that within the calc function. So the minimum size is going to be 0.2 rem. The maximum size is going to be 0.2 rem plus whatever value that this stxs produces. So if stxs produces like 1 rem, we are going to add on 0.2 more rem to it. If it produces 5 pixels, we are going to add 2 more pixels onto that. So it is going to make it look a little bit bigger. We haven't done that. Okay. Let's go here. So it is font size calc plus var xs. Are we not selecting it? Features content mini title. What is the mini features time? This is h6. Why choose us? I mean, let's put that right here. We were choosing it. So it's we are going to say 0.2 rem. Let me add the font weight as well. Let's say font weight bold, letter spacing 0.1 rem or 1 pixel. Color, let's set it to var primary. Background color is going to be septenary, and align self is going to be flex start. Border radius is going to be 2 rem. So these are the styles for the mini title, and now you can see that it is better visible. But the thing is that even though we have set align self start, it is grabbing the entire space that is available to it by the flex container. We don't want it to grab, we don't want the elements, because by default elements, they're set to stretch. Now that stretch is for align items, you might ask, and this is a good way, this is a good place to hit the pause button on styling and encoding and just dive for 15 seconds into theory. So we have said that align items stretch, that is the default behavior, but that is vertical. But because we have changed the flex direction to row, align items, to column, flex direction, we have changed it to column. Align items, it works in opposite of the flex direction. Now it is row. That's why it is stretching in the horizontal axis or in the x-axis. That's why it's stretching in that manner. And the reason for that is because we have changed the flex direction to column. So align items, it works in the horizontal axis and it is stretching horizontally. Now let's see, border radius, align self flex start. It should work. Didn't we provide it with any kind of padding? So let's say padding 0.5 rem, 2 rem. So that's not 2 rem, I'm going to say 1 rem. So that's going to be the padding. Align self flex start. Why is it not being applied? Let's go to the page. So we see why choose us. It is still stretching. Let's take a look at that. Let me bring this up. Let's grab this one. Let's go to layout. So this is the content. Okay, this in fact, this is not stretching because we have changed that. So if I go to, you know what? So we have, this is one item and this is the other. No, it is not stretching. So I'm going to show it to you. So if I remove this flex start and if I save this and come back to the web page, it is going to be the same. The reason for that is features content. So we have that title and then we have this. Now this is the minimum width required for these this content right here. And if we style that, then this is going to go away. It should go away, right? So let's go ahead and let's style that. And if the issue persists, we are going to come back to it. So we have set key points. We have styled that. Let's jump into every individual key point. So feature key point underscore key dash point. This is going to be display grid because we are aligning multiple elements, and the fastest way is grid. Even though it is a small component, but the reason that I'm using grid is because it's really fast as opposed to Flexbox. And I'm going to tell you why that is. So if I come here, you can see that the icon is right here, the element title is there, and then the paragraph is right here. So if we were to say flex, then I would have to provide this title and the icon in one container and this paragraph in another container, and then I would say flex for this one, and then all three of them will be inside another container. So you can see how many other containers that I need to create. And then for this one, I would say display flex and some gap. And for the main container, I would say display flex, and then I would change the flex direction. So the title is going to be on the top and the paragraph is going to be on the bottom. That's very complicated. But grid is going to allow us to style that better. So if I just go to inspect, layout, features, key point, so now you can see that this is actually grid, and it is really, really simple. So we have two columns and we have two rows, and we're basically using grid column, the alignment, we are basically aligning them within that grid container. And we don't have to go crazy on Flexbox and creating containers if we just want to align some stuff. So this is where that rule that we talked about, that for bigger components use grid, for smaller components use flex, that ideology, this is not applying here, because that is not actually how things work. The way that you can understand, okay, where you can use which, it comes from creating projects. So you can watch me create projects and you're going to develop that mentality. And after that, you're going to go ahead and you're going to take a look at a website on the internet and try to recreate that if you don't have any ideas for new projects. It's very difficult to come up with ideas for projects. So just go ahead and create clones of already created projects. Websites like Netflix, Amazon, and these kinds of projects that have a lot of layouts, a lot of moving stuff that are moving at the same time. So for the row, I'm going to say repeat 2, but I'm not going to fix the height. So I'm going to say min content, and the gap is going to be 1 rem. There we go. Let's save that. Let's align these as well. So where do we want the title to be? Where do we want the paragraph to be, we are going to align all of those in this video. So now that we are done with that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the title. So it is features, key points, key point. This is the title. This is the H2. This is the main title of this section. And I'm going to say font size. Okay. Computer is running hot a little. The font size is going to be DM, dynamic medium. The color is going to be var septenary, color septenary, and the font weight is going to be 700. Let's save that. There is a parenthesis missing. Okay, so let's jump into, first let me just save this and then jump into our website. So we are right here. This is, okay, this is in stretch and everything is title, keep, why are these, why the paragraph, all of these, they're receiving that style. They should not receive that style. So there is an issue there. So key points. Oh, I did not specify the title. This is only for the title of the key points. So now that that issue is gone, let's jump into individual key points. So key point, let's grab the icon. It's going to be align self center. And I'm going to say font size. Now, the icon is going to be in its position. The other one, which is the title, like expand your reach, that is going to be in its position as well. The only thing that we're going to change is going to be that paragraph, which we wanted to basically start from the second column. So font size for the icon is going to be a static one. So I'm going to say STM, static medium. And the color is going to be secondary. Color is var secondary. Let's save that. So that is done as well. Let's grab the title for every individual key point. So it is features, key point, dash, title. Like expand your growth, and expand your reach, analyzed growth, and all that cool stuff. The font size for this one is going to be STS. So static S, ST double dash STS, and the color is also going to be color secondary. So var color secondary. There we go. So the icon and the title, they have the same color. Let's jump into the para, which is going to be the last thing that we do in the desktop version. So I'm going to say features, key point, dash, para. Now this is going to start from the grid column 2, and it is going to span all the way through all the columns. If there is one column, if there are 10 columns, it's basically going to do that. So -1 is going to span the entire width of the container, starting from the wherever we have told it to start, and you don't have to really count how many columns there are. So color is going to be var primary, and then font size is going to be var STS. Save that. Let's take a look at our website. So there we go. This is what we have done so far. Let me get rid of that. Let me close that as well. So you can see that this is stretching. We don't want it to stretch. For some reason, this is looking really big. Is this big as well? No, it's not that big. It's overflowing a lot. And we need to fix this image as well. Let's jump into code. So first, let me comment this one in. Let's fix this mini title first. And it boggles my mind. Why is it not working? So where is, this is the mini title. This is the features content. There are 2. So if I take a look at that, it is spanning across there. It shouldn't do that. I don't want it to do that. align self. This is the property. So features content is flex direction column display flex and align self flex start. Let me change that to align self flat, let's say center. It should work in that case as well. I'm not sure why it is not working. It should work. Let's go to our website. Let's grab this H6 and it says align self has no effect on this element since it is not a grid or flex item. But it is a flex item, isn't it? Why is it not a flex item? It has to be a flex item. Try adding display grid, display flex. Okay, so it is not a flex item. So there has to be some issue there. So we have features, content. Let's say I'll take a look at that. Okay, so we are not actually selecting this. So let me go ahead and take a look at that. We have not actually initiated any flex. So it is, oh, the reason for that is because of this misspell. There we go. It was futures, something like that. So let me jump into, there we go. Now it is center and it doesn't say that. So if I reload the page, it's no longer going to say that because this is not a grid item or flex item. It is a flex item. Now it is in the center. We don't want it to be in the center. We want it to be in the flex start position. Let's take a look at that. There we go. Now it is in the start. And I think both of them are looking cool. Now let's jump into how we are going to make this responsive. And there are two things that I'm going to do right away. One is the padding for this section is going to be the same padding that we have been having for the previous two sections. And the other one is going to be the font size of this key features. These are the first two things that I'm going to do. So, excuse me. So for the title, we are going to jump into 800. If I'm not mistaken. Okay, there we go. So this is the work title in here. I'm going to say features, key point title. Let's provide a comma, and that's cool. That is done. Let's jump into the 470, and we are going to provide a padding. We are going to provide a different kind of padding. I'm going to say dot features. There we go. So this is done. These are the two first things that I wanted to do. Next up, what I'm going to do is it depends on how much the screen size is, but usually it is going to be within the same area as the 800 because I'm going to realign those elements, the same ones that I've done here. I'm going to do the same thing for the other elements as well. I'm going to show it to you first for these key features. So at some point, when I make the width of the window smaller, let's first make this one smaller so we can see where that breakpoint actually happens. There we go. So around 800, we want to change that to become vertical. This display flex. This is going to be, the flex direction is going to be vertical. And we're going to apply some cool stuff there as well. So let's jump into our own website. You can see that this border radius is different as well. So we are going to change the border radius as well. I don't want it to look like this. When I go like really small, it's going to look very weird, I think. Like this, like it's like an error or something. I don't want it to look like that. So let's jump into code. First off, we have applied the title there. Now, we want the elements when we go below 800, one of them to be flex start. The other one, we want it to be center, and then we want it to be flex end. So here is where those unique classes that we have provided for our elements that are going to come into play. So key point 1, key point 2. So key point 1, I want it to be flex start. And then key point 2, I want it to be in the center. And key point 3 is going to be flex end. Let's save that. Let's take a look at our website. So if I go smaller than 800, I don't think it is going to be visible because there is no space. We need to fix this container first, and then they're going to be visible. So I'm going to come down here. I'm going to copy this comment so you know that the features section is also present within this media query. So I'm going to read, first off, let's reduce the gap. So I'm going to say gap is going to be 3 rem. Then we're going to say flex direction. Let's set it to column. I also want to fix those border radii. So top left, I'm going to change it from 50 for the top line to 40. And for the left line, I'm going to change it from 50 to 10. The same thing is going to be applied for the right side. So let's save that. And let's jump into our website. There we go. Now there is something else that I want this image to come to the bottom of the section, and I want this features content to go towards the top. And we have not actually used that so far, not in our previous project, and we are just going to use it once in this project. So when we say flex direction column, it is going to make it as the same way as the structure of the HTML. So in the HTML, image comes first, then the content, but we want the image come second, the content to come first. So we are just going to say column reverse. So it's going to reverse the order. And when I come here, so now the image is at the bottom and the section is towards the top. Okay, and for some reason our key features, they're not moving. They should move. These ones, they have to come towards the start of the container, but they are in the center. Now the reason for this is because the width of our content for this key points, it is not as big, so the content, they can expand and they can grab the entire width of their parent. So if the width is small, these elements, they're fixed within that specified width. You need to increase the width so they have more room to move, then those styles will be applied. So if I come into features, and if I take a look at the flex, you can see that this space right here and then right here, we have said that the flex basis has to be 50%, right? Have we said that? Have we declared that? Let's go to the, there we go. So it is 50%. But we could change this flex basis from 50% to, let's say, 100% to take up the entire space. But there is an issue there. So we could say take up the entire space, and then this is going to be aligned with the rest of the elements. But the issue is that we have changed the flex direction. So if we say flex basis 100%, it no longer works in the horizontal direction. It works in the vertical. And in the vertical, we don't want it to be 100%. It is as much as we want it to be. So we don't want to change it in the vertical. We want to change it in the horizontal. So we are going to use our very old property of width because that is horizontal, right? So I'm going to say features content, because again, flex basis works in the direction of the flex, and flex direction is column, so flex basis is column. We don't want it to be column. We don't want to increase the width of, we don't want to increase the dimension vertically. We just want to change it horizontally. So flex basis cannot do that for us. Therefore, we have to use that old width property. And I want to stop the animation for the image as well. So I'm going to say feature image. And I'm going to say animation none. Let's save that. And I think we should be done. Let's take a look at that. There, so it's not animating anymore. And now, because they have more space to move, they're actually moving. Is it the same as we have there? Yes, it is the same. So let's get rid of this inspect. I could leave it there. Just go ahead and stay there. And now if we make the width of the window smaller, you can see how they're getting aligned. There we go. And they're getting smaller, smaller. We don't have any scroll bar. That's a good thing. And we could go all the way to 320. Everything is responsive. Everything is working in the manner that we want it to work. Let's make this smaller as well. Cool. Everything is okay. So with this, our lecture comes to an end. See you in the next one.